From Cornwall to Birmingham and Johnston and Bexhill, here's Ruben Spar on the radio.
Hello to Scarlett Whincup. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, Ruben?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for chatting to me today. So, can you tell me, how long have you been a country singer?
So I've been singing for pretty much all my life, and started singing out and about doing gigs about 25 years ago, and didn't really realise at the time, but was very much into what I would have described at the time as being pop music. So I did a lot of pop, and then about 6-7 years ago, started getting into country festivals, going to country clubs, things like that. Really enjoyed the music. And then started looking at my sets thinking, I want to get a little bit more country in there. And then realised that actually 50%, maybe 70% of my set was actually country music, but without me realising it. So I suppose I could say I've been singing country for about 25 years, but modern country and really getting passionate about what I would call proper country music, probably for about the last 6-7 years.
But new country is getting very popular here in the UK.
Yes, it is.
It's been quite good for you releasing your debut single.
Yes, I think the timing's been really, really good at the moment. Like I say, I've been doing country for a few years, getting my name out there on the country circuit. Not so much with the line dancing, but certainly getting in touch with a lot of line dancers and things like that as well. But yeah, obviously the country scene at the moment in the UK is really, really taking off. So I think it's kind of, that's almost given me a little bit of a push as well to kind of say, right, now's the time. I've kind of had this in the back of my mind for a few years, but it's kind of really given me the push to say, do you know what, now's the time to do it.
Because it has been quite a long while that you've been thinking about releasing a single, hasn't it?
Yes, I think we spoke over 12 months ago, about this possible interview, and I said I had something in the works, but I think it was a little bit of nervousness, really. Doing the very first one, I never sort of saw myself as a songwriter, a performer, yes, an entertainer, yes, a singer, yes, but not always a songwriter. And I think moving into that side of things was always really nervous for me. So I kind of wanted to do it, but never really had the courage to actually bite the bullet and get in the studio with a producer and actually get it recorded. So yes, definitely giving me that boost.
So did you write your debut single with your husband?
Yes. So it was a joint effort between my husband and myself. And he's definitely the one that gives me the encouragement to sort of really push and go for it. And it was a song that we did together, particularly the lyrics side of it we did together. And then I kind of put my own sort of spin on it, put my own twists on it. And then I started thinking about how I wanted it to actually sound and tried to put a track together myself for it. And then that kind of evolved as we went into the studio.
So what was it like going to the recording studio?
It was great. Absolutely great. Now, I've been in studios before. A few years ago, went into a studio to record just some covers. So that had some recordings of my vocals. And then I was lucky enough, a few years ago now, 2018, we went over to Memphis, and I did some recording at some studios. But again, cover music. So this time was a very, very different experience, going in where the music was mine, where I had ownership of it to be able to sort of explain to the producer what I wanted it to sound like and where I was coming from. But I have to say, Ben was absolutely amazing. So my producer, Ben Haynes, was absolutely fantastic. He was so easy. He knew it was my first time recording my own music. He knew it was the first time being in a studio to do something like this. And he was just so easygoing. He had ideas. He was able to put things in there and sort of say, what do you think about this? What about trying this? And yeah, I had an amazing time in the studio.
So, can you tell me more about your debut single, which is released today when this interview is being recorded? So, happy release day. Can you tell me more about your debut single called Where I'll Stay?
Yes, absolutely. So, yes, it is obviously my debut single. It's released today. So, I've had a very exciting day putting it out there and getting people to share it and have a listen. And obviously, it's available on every platform going. So, essentially, the song it's all about, it's a little bit of a grass is greener type of scenario. So, it's very much about thinking about what you want and wanting to go somewhere else and always looking sort of over the hillside and going on that long journey and wanting to go somewhere else to be better, to have a better life, getting there. And pretty much when you get there, realise actually my heart's back where it was in the first place. And actually I'm better off and my heart and my happiness is back where I was in the first place. So the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And coming to that realisation that I'm happiest back at home, which is where I'll stay, which is where the song comes from.
So now that released your debut single, is there any more plans to start recording any new music in the near future?
Yes, there are plans. Yes, there are, I would say, at least another 3 or 4 songs that are almost ready to go. There's always new music kind of in the pipeline and new ideas coming out. I was in the car yesterday. I was driving home yesterday and was thinking about a situation and thought, oh, actually, that'd make a nice lyric. So I think, yeah, I might have a little bit of the bug now for songwriting. And it is something I spoke to the producer about as well, about, you know, trying to get things out there and trying to tell your story. And again, a little bit of that consciousness of feeling like it's not going to be good enough for people. And he said something to me which was really poignant. And it was very much about, if you're happy with it, and you like the song and it's what you want to put out, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, because it's what is special to you, what's important to you, which I think was absolutely like really, really on the point for me. So that's kind of given me a push. I spoke to a songwriter in Nashville in March as well. And one of the things he said when we were talking about songwriting, and I was saying about not knowing where to start, he was like, well, you know, you've lived your late 30s, you've got experiences, you've got the material, you've just got to put it down on paper. So it was one of those. So yeah, I do think I've got the bug now. I've got one that I'm excited about, and I think that's going to be my next one. I'd like to get into the studio in January, ideally, for that one. And then I've got a couple of others that are probably ready for sort of February, March time. So I think my target would be 1 a month, but we'll wait and see on that one.
So they're going to do some more singles. What about going to release an EP or an album, maybe?
Yeah, I think an EP would be definitely something I would look at. To be fair, the next song that I'm looking at putting out, I had envisaged it being the title track on an EP or an album. I think starting out, I think an album is a way off yet, but I think an EP is probably the next place to go. See how people respond to the single, and to be honest, the feedback that I've had already on it, I've had feedback from a country PR company, and got really good feedback from them. I've had some feedback from some radio broadcasters, and that's been really positive. So far so good, although it's not been out 24 hours yet. But so far so good. So yeah, I think with the response from this one, the next one would hopefully be an EP if I've got it in me.
So, have you got any thoughts about your PR? Okay.
Sorry, you broke up a little bit then. Would you say that again?
Have you got any more thoughts about PR? Getting your music to different radio stations around the country and around the world?
At the moment, I have started reaching out to people. Obviously, as an independent artist, that's very much about doing it myself with my husband as well. He's very good at promotion and doing things like that for me. But yes, I have started reaching out to radio stations. As I said, there is a radio presenter who does some country radio stations, and I'm on his list for early next year. So yeah, I am sort of starting to push it out there to radio stations, and hopefully we'll watch this space and see how far and how wide we can get it going. I do have some friends, as I say, I have a songwriter friend over in Nashville. I have some friends that live over in Alabama, and they've seen it today and they've shared it over at their side. So you never know.
So I take it, have you been singing in Nashville?
Yes, I didn't go out there to sing. I was lucky enough to get up and have a sing with a band, and have a sing with a few other things. I think it's one of those things that kind of happens when you are a singer and you're interested in those kinds of things. You kind of look for the opportunities where possible to get up and have a sing. So yeah, I did manage to sing at a bar on Broadway in Nashville, which was great. I managed to visit, although not sing, but I did manage to go visit the Bluebird Cafe as well, which was just phenomenal. The experience in there. One day, as a target point, one day to be able to sing at the Bluebird would absolutely be amazing.
So can you tell me more about your band they put together, Scarlett and the Rednecks?
Yes, so this one, it's kind of come at the same time, obviously, as the music coming out. But I've wanted for a long, long time to sing with a band, and to front a band for myself and for my own singing. And another country performer called Kezia Gill, UK country performer. I sang with her at a festival a few years ago now. We were talking about gigs, we were talking about country music, we were talking about getting out there. And it was something she said to me when she said, you need a band. You need a band behind you. She said, you're strong enough. That's what you need to do. That's where you need to go next. And again, as everything does with me, it took a couple of years to sink in. And then I thought, do you know what? Now's the time. I really want to do bigger festivals. I really want to get into some of the big country festivals. I'm getting more confident with the country music. I'm getting more confident in myself. You'd say after 25 years, you'd think you would be confident, but it's, definitely getting into this scene now, and really want to start pushing for some of the bigger stuff. So started putting together a band, and I have a fantastic group of rednecks, as we're calling them. So yeah, Scarlett and her rednecks. It's me and a 4-piece band, and going absolutely fantastically. We have got our first gigs booked in. But yeah, slowly but surely the gigs are starting to come in, but we have got our first gigs booked in. And yeah, the redneck side of it comes from sort of my inspiration, which is Gretchen Wilson. Absolutely love Gretchen Wilson. She's absolutely my idol. And from her song Redneck Woman, and we were trying to decide what can we call the band, and we decided, yeah, they're going to be my rednecks. As a redhead naturally myself as well, it kind of comes slightly different connotation on rednecks, but it comes with it.
So, can you tell me, what's it like being a independent artist? Because you're now an artist now.
Yes, I am an independent artist, which is very, very strange to say. I must admit, the whole releasing the single and it being out there is very, very new to me at the minute, and it's very exciting. Proud to be an independent artist. I know, I've been talking along the way with quite a few independent artists, and they're really successful, really successful at the moment. So it's new, it's exciting, and yeah, hopefully as an independent I can see where it takes me.
It's a lot of hard work, but you can easily plan your own career path.
Yeah, and I have a good idea of kind of where I see it going, slowly but surely. But I kind of have a path of the next steps for me, which is, like I say, getting into the bigger festivals and things, getting my music heard, getting a wider audience for it. And that's kind of my focus at the minute, is just trying to get my music out there and get it to as wide an audience as possible at the moment.
So is there a festival that you got your eye on that you're hoping to get into?
Yeah, and I think it's a long way off, a long way off. But one of the big festivals that we go to every year is Country to Country, C2C, as people know it. And I think that would be an absolute achievement if, they have massive artists on, and they have smaller stages around where they bring in independent artists and up and coming artists. And I think, just to be recognised anywhere like that would be phenomenal. But to be honest, just asking somebody to come and just getting somebody to ask me to come and play some of my original music, that would be amazing. And I think, I've got to get my music out there first, but that would be the thing, for somebody to come and say, I want you to come, not to do your covers, but I want you to come and do your music. And I want people to think that that's good enough for a show.
Naturally, around the UK, they're quite putting a good shows. We've been to quite a few of those over the couple of years I've been going to them.
Yes, there's lots out there, and I think when you look into it, there's more than you think as well. There's quite a lot. I'm involved with a group called Nashville Sessions, and they're fantastic. They're really good and really supportive with their festivals, and there's quite a lot of people out there that I do already with covers, so it'd be nice to start putting more and more of my own stuff in there.
So can you tell me, listeners, we've got any gigs coming up very soon?
Yes, obviously we're coming up to the festive period at the moment, so gigs coming up. One that's a country gig. It's only a small one, a lovely little pub in a little village called Gomersall, and that's called the Bull's Head in Gomersall, which is a country gig. And then as we start getting into the new year, I've got quite a few country and western clubs and country music clubs that I've got, especially sort of through January, February. I think I've got about 8 or 9 country and western clubs in January, February. So filling up nicely for next year, and some festivals booked in for next year as well. But yes, coming up to the festive period, like I say, the Bull's Head on the 21st, and then looking into New Year for more of those country gigs.
So finally, kids and listeners, where can they find you on your social media?
So social media, you can find me on Facebook. I am on TikTok. I am on Instagram, and they are all under scarlettsings.co.uk. So Scarlett with 2 T's, scarlettsings.co.uk. And if you put that into Facebook, or you put it into Instagram, or you put it into, like I say, TikTok, then you should find me on there as well. My website, which will link you to any of them, is scarlettsingscountry.co.uk, and you can find me under Scarlett Whincup as well. So yes, I am there. I am around on all the social media, and even now on music platforms.
Thank you. Let me chat to you today.
No, thanks ever so much for inviting me to talk to you, Ruben. That's fab.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.